situated here. Hopefully I can see what you all see in a second. Let me get my iPad ready.
That is crazy.
Sometimes I have a hard time finding my own lives. Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. I'm trying to find my live if if I can find it. Let me see if I go over to my page. Yeah, for some reason it didn't want to show it to me. I think I finally found it. All right, so let's move this up. Let's get my little water holder up there. And let's see if you guys can see everything the way I would like to have it seen. Hey guys, I'm actually live, yes. I'm just trying to set up my area because I never can tell. It looks one way on the phone that I'm looking through to film this, and then another way on my iPad when I'm trying to see what we're doing. But anyway, guys, this is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. I just wanted to say hi and get us started. We are live tonight, and we're going to be using the Thanks a Bunch set, which is a free set during celebration. I just have a few announcements that I'm going to go through while we're waiting for people to pop in. How are you doing, Clem? Hey, John, thanks for joining us. So the Sunshine and Smiles kit is available until the 10th of February. So that is Friday. You guys have until Friday to sign up for this kit if you would like it, and then it will be mailed out around the 11th or 12th. And then you will get that in time to work on these for February. I sent out the dies to all my Paper Pumpkin subscribers. There was an add-on for this kit, but it has sold out. I did send them to all of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, so you should all have gotten that. Don't forget about Kits Collection, which means you can go to my online store. If you go to inkyhandswarmhearts.com and click on Shop With Me, you're going to have access to a section called Kits. And in the kits collection, you're going to be able to purchase all the different kits. There's a new kit. This is a home decor kit, and it was available starting February 1st. It's $13, and you can do this little wreath right here. And then don't forget about this fantastic one, which I just love this one because I love bright colors, and this rainbow just makes me happy. And this one's also $13. There's no stamp set or ink that goes with it. It's just a kit that you put together, so it's really great for a beginner. So if you want to help somebody get started with stamping, this is a great kit because everything's in the kit that you need, including adhesive to put it together, and then they could get 9 cards. And where else could you get 9 cards and envelopes that you put together everything yourself for $13? If you are interested in the Love Treats kit, that is also in the store. We also have the Timeless Greetings, and don't forget about the birthday card organizer. Those are the ones that I'm highlighting right now. And let's talk about Celebration. So Celebration runs January and February, and we have a brochure for it. If you don't have a physical copy of it, you can go to my website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, and on either the sidebar if you're on the computer or on your phone, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a little picture of this catalog. If you click on it, it will open this little mini catalog brochure up, and this is the stamp set that we're using this week. It's this one right here with the carrots. I think it's adorable. It's called Thanks a Bunch. And I did a card on Sunday with it. Let me grab that card so you guys can see. So this was the card. My little twine, there we go. So this is the card that I did Sunday, and then we're gonna make one today. I also talked about the Stampin' Blends, and I did an overview of them on Monday. So if you have any questions, hey Lou, thanks for joining us. Hey if you have any questions on the Stampin' Blends, if you go to inkyhandswarmhearts.com, on the front page, you should be able to see, it says a Stampin' Blend overview. And on there, you should be able to learn all about our Stampin' Blend markers. But I made this card on Sunday. It's a really fun card. There's the inside. I have a video for this card, excuse me, on YouTube. So you guys can check that out if you'd like to make that. This is a great stamp set to pair with the Easter Bunny stamp set that's in this catalog. And I'm going to show you that. So in the mini catalog, which goes through the end of April, I gotta find it. I think it's on page 52. Here we go. This little stamp set here is adorable. And there is a punch that punches out this bunny, but you don't need the punch. All the rest of it needs to be fussy cut out anyway. So this is a great set. And you can just purchase the set for $19. And it pairs really well with this free stamp set that we have available in this catalog. And since I've been using it all week, you'll get ideas for that. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you what we're going to make today. So this is today's card, and I call it the Watercolor Carrot Card. You guys know how much I love bright colors. Hey, Lee. That's okay, Lee. I'm sorry. But this is my watercolor carrot card, and as you can see, there's a watercolor wash in the background. Even my carrots have been watercolored in the leaves. I'm going to show you how to do that. So for those of you who don't know, carrots come in a lot of colors, not just orange. So I found this website here that shows the different colors. Look at how pretty that carrots come in. So check that out. Isn't that so cool? So I decided, since carrots come in those colors, we could have brightly colored carrots on our card. What do you guys think? Pretty cool, right? All right, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need to make our card is going to be our cardstock, of course, but we also need some water because we're going to do some watercoloring. So I am going to grab, I have a glass here of water. I'm going to pour some into this little container. I'm going to set it right here to the side. And hopefully I won't knock it over and make a big mess, but you never know. So stick around, it could get exciting. We're going to use the water painters today. So I'm going to grab the large water painter, and as you can see, I have some colored water in there, not intentionally, just because last time I used it, I never purged it. They actually do, some have more and some have less flavor, Lou. So we're going to use this big brush today, and you can see there's water on there. You can also fill the barrel of the water painter, but we're going to dip water out of our little water holder right here, so that's what we're going to use. And even the ribbon, everything we're going to watercolor. So this is going to be a really fun process. So we're going to start with a piece of thick basic white cardstock. I've scored it at 4 1/4. It's 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to go ahead and burnish that so that it will be nice and flat for us. It's going to be the base of our card. And you can see the words here that say thanks a bunch. I did that ahead of time, and so that was done with Versamark ink. So you would stick your stamp, and in this stamp set, you have the words thanks and then a bunch. So it's two separate stamps. So there's the word thanks, and there's a bunch. And so what I did was I stamped those two stamps onto a piece of shimmery white cardstock. So shimmery white cardstock has like a glittery core, but it's a thicker base than our basic white, and it's not quite as thick as our watercolor. So it's a really great paper to use when you do watercoloring. So if you want to have that shimmer, you're going to see the shimmer that's in there. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to come up in the camera, if you're going to be able to actually see it. But there's shimmer back here behind this watercolor wash. So what I did was I stamped my thanks in Versamark ink, and then I stamped the words a bunch, and then I put my white powder over the top. I shook the excess off, and then I heat embossed it. And so I don't know if you guys can see it there, but on this piece I have the words thanks a bunch. If I move it, you can probably see it there in the corner if it catches the light. So we are going to watercolor this piece here. We're going to set the card core off to the side temporarily. So I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I'm going to put my paper on top of it. And I'm going to actually grab some water with my brush. Okay, so I'm just going to dip it in to the piece and just squeeze on that, and it's going to pick up water in the brush portion. You can use a regular paintbrush also. I love our water painters though, because there's other techniques you can do with them. Hi Rita, that's okay. Everybody seems to have ads, so that's why everybody was running a little late. I'm not sure if you got them as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip this into our little bowl here, and I am going to make a wash kind of where I want those colors to go on my card. So I want a little bit up here like that. Okay, and we're going to start with our yellow color. So our yellow is our daffodil, and we're going to use a reinker. So I'm going to show you here. I'm going to grab a clear block. See, they're more than just for stamping. I'm going to wet it one more time and wash that section there, okay? So I'm going to grab a daffodil, and we're going to put a drop on top like that, okay? And we're going to take our wet and grab that and kind of make a little bit color. And since I have a wash here, when I place it, it's going to bleed into my paper wherever that water was. Okay, so I'm going to just bring that up like that, and I'm going to go ahead and purge that color, and we're going to move on to the next one. It easily grabs because of the wash that I put on top of it. So let me grab a baby wipe, and we're going to clean this yellow, and we're going to move on to the next color right there, which is our Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to grab a drop. So not only are reinkers awesome for reinking our ink pads, right, but we can do really cool things with them. So I'm going to go ahead and put some water on top of that yellow and drag that down a little bit. I want that Flirty Flamingo to grab some of this thanks a bunch section. And then we're going to go ahead and wet that up. It's not the watercolor paper, but you can use that, Clem. This is our shimmery white cardstock. So I'm just going to add now. There's my Flirty Flamingo. We can add a little bit more color if we want it. And then again, I'm going to purge that color into my water. And I'm going to do my last portion of water wash down at that bottom section. I'm going to leave this in here for a minute. I'm going to clean my Flirty Flamingo color off my block. And then our next color is going to be Positively Pink. When you do the shimmery white cardstock climb, it has a glitter sheen to it, so it gets very glittery. And I know that you guys probably can't see the glitter on the camera, but if you go to my website, I have photos of this card after the live. It should be up on my website. You can actually see in the close-up photos the glitter behind there. It's really stunning in person. Okay, so now we're gonna grab our water painter, and I'm gonna pick up that Positively Pink glue. And see how the water grabs and see how it like pulls because that wash that I put on there. I'm actually going to go over the top and bleed those a little bit together. I'm going to grab a little bit more. And probably like that. That's good. So as you can see, every time I do this, it's going to look a little different. There's the first one that I did. And the water just kind of grabs and does what it wants. So I'm just going to move this out of the way temporarily. And we're going to do a strip for the inside. Right, like that. So let me grab that strip. And we're going to do the same thing, only I'm going to start with pink this time. So I'm going to wet my piece of cardstock, pick up that pink that I already have, and we're going to let it run. Okay, I'm going to clean that off, and let's clean, and we'll go backwards. So we'll do Flirty Flamingo next. I'm going to add a little water, and we're going to put a drop of Flirty Flamingo. We don't need as much because it's just a small piece. Yeah, Rita, it's really fun. It's so fun to play with ink and paper. I'm telling you, it's the best ever. I have the best job. All right, and we're going to do our daffodil next. So let's grab that re-inker. And remember, I'm going to wet my paper first and put a wash on it before I bring it. If I bring the re-inker to dry cardstock, I'll show you that in a second. I'll grab a scrap and show you. So we're going to wet this first so that it'll grab that re-inker and pull it. See how it grabs that color and draws it. So there's the yellow. I'm going to add a little more pink, I think, because I didn't have as much concentration. I had already watered that one down, so I really want it to be a little brighter on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add a tiny bit more water just to make sure that it'll flow. We're going to pick that up and we're going to add that darker pink. Yeah, there we go. So now we'll get those three colors, and then that will tie the front of our card in. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to heat set this so that we can use it, right? Because the paper's wet. So you can either wait for it to dry by itself or you can heat set it. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set it. I'm going to grab my heat tool. And you can purchase the heat tools on my website. All of these products are available to purchase. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that over the top of my watercolor wash. I'm also going to get this one. Sorry for all the noise. This one's going to take a little bit longer to dry than the other one because it got completely drenched in the water, whereas the other one just had it in that spot. I'm doing the opposite side just to help dry it out. It's getting there. The yellow's dry. I saturated that lower part a little bit more than the rest, so that one's going to take the longest to dry. All right, let's move over to the card again and make sure. I'm also going to flip this one over. Now you can see on our piece here, because it got completely saturated, you can see on the other side, this shimmery white cardstock didn't really saturate all the way through because I just did a wash of water and then let the re-inker flow. All right, this one's ready, but we still have a little bit more on here and then we'll be ready. Whoops. This pink is still a little bit wet. See how it's curling? Because it's actually drying now. So it's curling up. So I flip it over and then I put it on this side to help counterbalance that. All right. I'm gonna put my heat gun away. And we're gonna work on our elements for our card. These carrots are going to be watercolored as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me move my iPad out of my way. I had it off to the side when I was trying to figure out how to get my live going so I can monitor it. Where is my, here it is. All right, so we're going to use the Stampin' Spritzers today. When you purchase them, you get a 2-pack. They're not very expensive. I don't know the price off the top of my head, but I'm going to find them so that I can tell you the prices. Let's see. I should have marked it ahead of time. I wasn't thinking about that. Let's see. All right, this should be over here. Here they are. $3.25. You get 2 of those for $3.25 in the pack. Okay, and so I have this one and I've just filled it with water. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's water in there. Okay, I'm gonna set this off to the side and we are going to grab our scrap paper. I have some scrap paper here to do the carrots. So I'm going to start with 1 carrot in each of those same colors that we used for the re-inker, okay? So we're going to take our, let's start with our daffodil. Okay. And we're going to ink, here's our solid carrot stamp. You can see it through there. I'm going to ink that up with my ink pad. Okay, I'm going to move this paper out of the way and this brush out of the way. All right, so I've inked that up in the daffodil and I'm going to take my spritzer. I'm going to make sure that the part that sprays is facing my stamp and I'm just going to mist my stamp. Can you see the water on there? Okay, I'm going to grab my paper, my scrap paper, and I am going to flip this over, that wet piece, and we're going to stamp that down onto my scrap paper. I'm just going to hold it for a second. And then I'm going to lift it up. So there's my watercolored carrot. Okay, we're going to clean this off and we're going to do it in the 3 colors. So let's get the Flirty Flamingo and we're going to ink our carrot up. Get it nice and inky. Now, the more you wet it, the more watery it looks. The less you wet it, the less watery it looks, right? So we're going to take our spritzer again. I'm going to point that towards my stamp and I'm just going to mist my stamp and I'm going to go ahead and flip that over and stamp that down onto my scrap paper for the next carrot. So there's that one. Clean my stamp, and let's do the Positively Pink one. So here's my scrap. Let's grab the next ink color. Positively Pink. So my 3 colors today were Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Positively Pink. So there's my pink. Ooh, I got some on there. Let me clean that off with my baby wipe so we don't have a disaster. All right, let's move that. We're gonna give it a little mist, and then we're gonna stamp that one down onto this scrap. So now we have 3 watercolored carrots. I'm going to bring my heat gun in real quick and make sure that they're dry. And then we're going to stamp the overlay, which is this portion right here, directly on without actually before, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it before I dry them, and then I'll make sure that they're dry before I fussy cut them out. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this one in the daffodil, and we're going to give that some dimension there by putting that little overlay stamp. See how it looks like a real carrot when you add that little texture onto it? We're going to clean that each time because we're onto a different color, right? So let's bring our flirty in and do that one next. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach. See how cool that is? It gives it so much texture. And then let's do our Positively Pink. And then our green for our carrot tops is Parakeet Party. That's the green color I chose. So let's go ahead and attach this one down. There's our pink carrot. Okay, and I'm just going to clean this and make sure that our carrots are dry. I'm going to close our ink pad. And you can close up your spritzer. Since there's just water in here, I can leave it, or I can go ahead and empty it out. It's really up to you what you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab my heat gun real quick. Make sure those are dry, and then I will fussy cut those out for you. Now this paper that I used for scrap was not the shimmery paper. I just used regular basic white. But the carrots won't have any shimmer. If you use the scraps of shimmery white, then they'll also be shimmery. You can also add shimmer with your Wink of Stella pen. All right, so let's fussy cut the carrots out. I have already stamped the same way I did the carrots. I did the leaves with this stamp right here. There it is. So let's cut these guys out. They're actually very simple to fussy cut because it's just straight and around. You only have that one rounded section, and then come around this side. There's one. I'm so happy that you're liking it, Lou. It's always fun to mix it up and do something different. All right, let me get rid of this piece. I don't need that one. At the bottom there, and we'll cut this one out. And then I'm going to put these off to the side, and I'm going to show you how to do our ribbon. All right. So there's the carrots. Let's go ahead and glue the tops on them. So I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive on these points down here. And we're going to glue the tops on. I'm going to angle them because there's going to be one on top, one in the middle, and the one on the top I'm going to have that one go straight because they're going to be like this. And then we're going to put the pink one overlapped on top of those. So this one will need the straight top. All right, I'm going to set these off to the side. So far we have our pink piece and our watercolor wash piece and our carrots. So now we're going to do our ribbon. So the ribbon is our crinkle seam binding ribbon. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use this piece like so and tie a bow. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's the size that I want, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that end off. And I'm going to unwrap it. That's how I figured out how much ribbon I wanted. I just tied my bow, figured out how long I wanted my tails to be, and then I cut my ribbon. So we're going to watercolor this. And we're going to do it the same way. Okay, we're going to start with our water. I'm going to grab my little block. I don't know what I've done with it. Oh, here it is. Okay, and we're going to wet our ribbon. And we're going to just do a little section at a time here. Actually, I'm going to grab another silicone mat. You can use a piece of plastic. You can use a piece of glass. You can just put a bunch of paper towels down. You can get a cutting board, you know, whatever you want to use to put your piece down. I'm just going to put two mats together here. And hopefully this will make it all the way across. Well, almost. We're almost there. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and wet most of this. We might not be able to do it all. Let's go ahead and overlap those so that we don't get it on my surface. We'll start with this. All right, so let's start with our daffodil. And we're going to go ahead and put a drop. I'm going to move my ribbon. I'm going to wet it. It doesn't matter if it's crisscrossed because we're going to tie it anyway. So let's just go ahead and wet it all. I'm going to use these two mats. All right. So now that it's wet, I'm going to pick up and I'm just going to place it in different sections until I've used up all of my yellow. All right, so that's our yellow. And if you need a little bit more intense color, you can add another drop. And towards the bottom where it wasn't quite as bright, you can add that re-inker. All right, so we're going to purge that color like we did before. I'm going to use my same baby wipe here and clean that. And let's move on to Flirty Flamingo. I'll leave it uncovered because we may need it again. So I'm going to grab some color. All right, that's our Flirty Flamingo. And then we're going to use that Positively Pink, which is our brightest color. I'm actually going to put 2 drops of this because number 1, pink is my favorite color. And number 2, the ribbon is really wet. So I want to make sure that I can add a bright amount. So I'm not squeezing water on it. I'm basically adding re-inker right to the ribbon. And I don't want it to be diluted any more than it's going to be being soaked already on the silicone mat. All right, so now that we have that final color on there, I'm going to clean my block. And I don't need this wipe anymore. We're done with all of our re-inker colors. I'm going to grab my my heat tool again, and we're going to dry our ribbon with our heat tool. So one thing that I like to do is I like to have a rag to dry stuff that I don't care if it gets full of color. So there's our ribbon. You can see there's color in there. We're gonna, as we heat it and it dries, it'll get more intense. Now this ribbon is fairly thin, so it doesn't take very long to dry. See, it's flying around on me already because it's almost dry. Let me grab something to hold it down with, my scissor maybe, so it will stop flying around on me. All right. Oh, it left me. All right, I think we're good. It's dry. If you want more intense color, you can add more, but you see how it has that really cool watercolor look? If you want more intense, you can also take your re-inker right to your ribbon and then add water like this. And then we'll dry that, and I'll show you the look of that one. Let me blot this. Okay. So there it is, a little bit more intense in that one section that I added some extra pink. So you can always add a little bit extra if that's what you'd like to do. And these silicone mats are fabulous because you just wipe them clean. You guys know how much I love my silicone mats. I use them every single week. Every single day I use it. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to turn that on. I was trying to wrap that cord around it and I pushed on that piece. Okay, so now we have all of our parts and pieces. Let me move all the ink pads out of the way. All right, so I'm going to tie my ribbon. We're going to do the two bunny ears. Jasper's not in here today. I went to school today and subbed, and so I didn't have him in here with me. Had a long day today. Let's get this one pulled through. Sorry for my fingers that don't work very well, guys. There we go. I want to make the tails kind of long. There we go. All right, so there's my ribbon. I can trim those on the end. Let's go ahead and grab our watercolored washed piece, and we have our card here. So I want to pop this up. So because it does have that watercolor on there, the paper can get a little bit warped. So I use a few extra dimensionals than I would normally use, and I know that you guys already know I use a ton. But I really want my card to lay nice and flat. So sometimes I'll put a few extras on there just to make sure that it lays correctly. All right, and then we're going to add on the yellow and the flirty carrots. They also need dimensionals. I need a small one for the bottom. You see how they curl because they're like, ah, all this water. They have naturally curly hair, so. All right, I'm gonna put one on the top of this carrot, and then we're gonna use the minis. Let me grab those. We're gonna put a mini down here at the bottom of each of these. And I'm gonna put a mini at the bottom of the pink one also. The rest of it's gonna get wet adhesive. And then at the tops, I'm gonna put a mini because I can. All right. All right, so that's the dimensional. So let's move these guys out of the way. Let's pull the backs off. This is when you need to take your pick tool because you don't want all of these little backings all over your craft room. So we'll take them out. About 5 of them fit on this take your pick tool before you have to purge them. Oops. Come on, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this watercolor wash onto our card. Now I cut this one 1/4 of an inch smaller, so this is 4 by 5 1/4, and it's on a piece of 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 folded in half. So there's our watercolor wash. We're gonna put our carrots over in this corner. So let's get our yellow and our flirty ones. Let's pull the backs off. How are you guys doing tonight? Gonna put this little yellow one over here to the right of my card. I just want to make sure that the tops don't stick out, right? So make sure there's one. And then we'll put this one over here. All right, and we're gonna attach this one right here in between them. So I'm gonna put some wet adhesive. First I'm gonna pull the backs off. And then I'm gonna put some wet adhesive on the edges because it's going to attach onto these 2 carrots. So either side of this carrot has to bond to those other 2 carrots, okay? So let's go ahead and lay our, I'm gonna lower this one just slightly compared to the other ones. It's gonna drop it a little. There we go, which is why I put the dimensionals over here because it's not laying on these carrots. These carrots help this one stay up, so I didn't need them in the middle, but I need it up here and down here. So now we're going to attach our little ribbon, and the tails are way too long, so let me get my ribbon scissors out. And we will trim those, and we're going to grab a mini glue dot. I'm going to grab my take your pick tool and kind of ball that up right on here until I can pick it up. We're going to put it on the back of our ribbon knot, and then we're going to go ahead and adhere it. And once I have it down, then I can figure out exactly how much I need to trim off. Get my bow looking how I want it, placed in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to trim this one about right there, and this one about right there. So there's our crinkled bow. Isn't that cool? And then on the inside, we're going to attach our strip that we did with the watercolor. And so that piece is going to come right along this edge. I'm going to trim that piece off. And I'm going to use wet adhesive, so I'm going to grab my silicone mat. And it's a little longer than my card. I always do that on purpose to make sure that it fits all the way. And then we're going to watercolor that last little carrot piece that's on the inside. So let's go ahead and put our strip down with our I peeled a little piece off of there. I'll have to fix that later. Let me grab my paper snips. All right. So there's our card. Now we're going to put our little carrot on the inside. So here is the medium-sized carrot. There's 3 carrot sizes. So you have the large one that's on the outside. This is the medium, and then you have a little bunch of 3. So we are going to grab our, I think I use Flirty Flamingo here. So let's go ahead and grab the Flirty Flamingo. And we're going to ink that up. And we're going to grab our spritzer here. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not pointing it at myself and I'm pointing it at the carrot. 1 spritz should be enough. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp that directly onto our card here. So there's our carrot. Let's clean that. And we're going to do our parakeet party for the greenery. So the medium carrot has a different greenery. I'll show that to you. Let me grab my stamp. So it's this one right here. So I'm going to ink that up. And again, I'm going to grab my spritzer and give it a little spray. Move the ink pad out of the way. And then I'm going to stamp that right onto my carrot. So there is the top. I'm going to leave that open, but this direction for now, and we are going to put our embellishments on the top. So I chose to use iridescent rhinestones, and the reason I love these so much is that they're see-through, but whatever color you put them on, they grab that color. So if you put them on the pink shines through. If you put them on the yellow shines through. Even the green, whatever color you put them behind, that color shines through. And I love that about these rhinestones. So we're going to use the large ones. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool. We're going to grab the putty end. So I'm going to put one on the pink. So we have a pink one. We're going to put one on the yellow, maybe right here. That's good. And then I'm going to put one over here on this Flirty Flamingo color. Well, if I can pick it up, I will. There we go. How about right here? So now I have the 3 colors that are depicted in the carrots, my ribbon, and my watercolor wash on my embellishments. So I really love these iridescent rhinestones for that reason. I think they're super cool, and that they take on the color of whatever you put behind them, I think is pretty stellar. Let me get my ribbon scissor out of the way. Does anybody have any questions for me about this technique? I didn't really look at the chat too much, so I will peek at it now and see if there was any questions. Yes, because it's embossed, it resists the watercolor wash. So when you stamp white on white and then you do this watercolor wash, it pops that up. It's perfect. Yes, I love that. Yeah, this is such a fun card. I really love how it turned out. This is dry now, so we can go ahead and close that. But there is my 2 versions. So as you can see, they're both a little bit different. My ribbon's a little bit different. Every time you do that, you're going to get a different look. This ribbon is less intense. I used more water. This one I used more inkers. So it just depends on what you use and how it works. Thank you, Lou. You guys have any questions for me? Here's Sunday's card. Tomorrow is Wacky Wednesday, so I'm going to have a project tomorrow, actually. Sometimes I do a project on Wednesday. Sometimes I show a technique. Sometimes I show a product. You never know what I'm going to do on Wednesdays. That's why I call it Wacky Wednesday. So tomorrow there's actually going to be a project. So you'll have a video to watch tomorrow. Thank you, Lee. Oh, you're welcome, Rita. I'm so happy that you liked it. Thank you, Clem. All right, guys, I guess if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I just cruised right through to see if there was anything that I missed. I think I did answer them all. Positively Pink Glue is one of the in colors. It's such a great in color. I really love that color. Absolutely, Eileen. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to let you go. And I will see you back here next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I will talk with you soon. Have an awesome day.